The OCTA research group noted a decrease in the COVID-19 infection rate in Metro Manila. But the health department says we can't let our guards down just yet. The NTF-LCAC's Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade did not mince words on pantry organizer Ana Patricia Non's supposed link to communist groups. Parlade's failure to provide proof prompted one human rights lawyer to say it's about time to pass a law against red tagging. A group of women from Pasig speak up after drawing flack on social media for allegedly cleaning out the supplies of a community pantry. And despite delays, the Agriculture Department assures hog farmers that they will receive compensation for livestock culled due to ASF. In basketball, Sotto has signed on for 2 seasons with the Australian National Basketball League. Focused and fearless, here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Maginhawa. The OCTA research group has noted a decline in the COVID-19 reproduction rate in Metro Manila. But health authorities are still on the fence on the matter of easing the quarantine status in the NCR Plus bubble. Greg Gregorio with that story.
The OCTA research group says the reproduction rate, or the number of persons at risk of getting infected from a COVID-positive individual, has declined in the past 2 weeks. In Metro Manila alone, the infection rate has dropped to 1.01 from the 1.9 registered before the implementation of a stricter quarantine status in March.
Maliit lang naman, it decreased by 7%. Pero this shows that yung momentum has possibly changed, pababa na yung momentum natin, and hopefully kaya nating masustain yan para patuloy-tuloy. We can try to control the cases.
If the downtrend continues, David says it might be a good indication for the government to eventually loosen up quarantine restrictions in the region.
So ngayon, it's been just a little over 1 week ng MECQ, and I think we have to give it a little more time. We will know yung full effects ng MECQ. If the momentum or direction does not change, I think we can confidently say na sustain natin yung gains natin during this MECQ, and we can then we can look at our options.
But for the health department, it is still too early to tell.
Nakikita naman natin na pag sinuma mo lahat for the past 2 weeks, makikita mo na medyo bumababa ang average natin. But kailangan po na we have to be careful in interpretation. Kasi sabi ko nga, may mga artificial declines tayo during Mondays and Tuesdays ng ating mga cases.
The DOH is also looking at the healthcare utilization rate in NCR and nearby regions, which are still at moderate and high-risk classification, while the utilization of ICU beds remains to be at high to critical risk. But the good thing is, more recoveries are being recorded.
And most of the cases are mild and asymptomatic, so marami po makaka-correct din. So artificial po yung mga pagbaba, di pa rin ho natin nakikita sa ngayon. So let's have some more days, maybe next week, baka tingnan natin.
As for the COVID-19 vaccination drive, more than 1.5 million doses have been administered across the country. The DOH is now preparing for the arrival of additional supplies, like the 20,000 doses from Russia's Adelaide. The Sputnik V vaccine requires a cold storage not exceeding -18 degrees Celsius.
Greg, meron naman ho tayong handa na mga storage and distribution system when it comes to the other vaccines that will require this kind of storage temperature. Although itong Gamaleya vaccine may konting technical requirements na kailangan talagang carefully maiayos natin because meron siyang powder form at meron siyang liquid form.
500,000 doses of Sinovac vaccines are expected to also arrive on Thursday. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
One human rights lawyer says that authorities cannot force anyone to disclose private information without consent and legitimate purpose. In an earlier interview with us here on One News Now, Bayan Muna Chairman Nery Colmenares shared that he met with community pantry organizer Ana Patricia Non, who has been red tagged by authorities.
We said it's legal because even the Constitution recognizes the right of citizens to self-reliance and initiative and involvement in societal concerns. And secondly, it's not commercial, and many LGUs have already said that they don't require permits.
Colmenares also hit back at NTF-LCAC spokesman Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade for insinuating without basis that Non has links to communist groups.
Actually, is going to say, oh, she's a member of an activist group, so I'm very, very interested. But I bet you there's nothing he will say there that will stand up in court.
And in Pasig, a group of women cried foul after being misrepresented on social media. The women say they were bashed online after supposedly wiping out a community pantry along the East Capitol Drive. Lynn Olivario has the story.
These women have quickly gone viral after a video made rounds on social media showing them wiping clean the contents of the community pantry along East Capitol Drive in Pasig. On Facebook, community pantry organizer Carla Quiogue rude that some women from Barangay Pineda took literally everything, including the trays of eggs that were to be distributed to multiple residents in their area. Because of the incident, Quiogue felt disheartened to continue operating the community pantry. But in their defense, Maricar, one of those seen in the video, explained that they asked permission from authorities if they are allowed to get as much as they want.
Sabi nila, hindi, sige, kumuha na lang kayo. Sabi niya gano'n, kumuha kayo, sige, kunin nyo lang, paghati-hatian nyo na lang. Ayun nung sabi niya. Tapos bigla nung nakita namin sa news, putol na yung video na na pinakita nila. Hindi naman kami nagnakaw eh. Nagpaalam pa kami sa kanila.
One of their neighbors, Feli Angeles, attested that the women did share the haul they got from the pantry.
Oo, pagdating nila, inilapag nila rito yung mga dala-dala nila. Tapos, pinagbibigyan na nila kami. Mga dito sa kabila, dito, namigay naman sila lahat ng mga nakuha nila. Hindi nila ninakaw, wala silang dapat na ipaliwanag sa kahit kanino.
Shawi, who was one of the women in the video, reiterated that they did not steal, contrary to what they were made to appear. Although she admitted they were wrong about taking more than they should have and realized that a little too late.
Opo, may ginawa kaming kasalanan pero hindi po dapat padaanin sa social media na ganun. Isa't kalahating trays, kala nila sa kanya lang. Hindi nila alam na pag uwi namin dito, hinati-hati namin at pinamigay namin sa kapitbahay namin.
Maricar also revealed that despite being pregnant and jobless, she has not received the latest aid from the government.
Hindi kami nakakuha ng ayuda. Sino ba naman taong hindi naman kukuha ng ganun, te? Ang pagkakamali lang din namin doon, sinimot lang namin yun, marami naman din kami nabigyan.
Despite the incident, the organizers continued running the community pantry. They also coordinated with the rest of the Capitolio residents to assure a more organized distribution of aid. For News 5, Lynn Olivario, we are One News.
Hog raisers hit by the African swine fever outbreak in Candaba, Pampanga are complaining about the delay in compensation for their culled livestock. The Agriculture Department has assured them that they will receive the cash despite the slow pace of the payouts. Shyla Francisco has the report.
This pig pen in Barangay Bahay Pare in Candaba, Pampanga used to be full. But when the African swine fever outbreak broke, owner Anthony Cruz was forced to surrender 30 pigs to the government for culling. More than 100 hog raisers here in Barangay Bahay Pare, Candaba, Pampanga were promised 5,000 pesos per culled pig. But until now, they haven't received a single centavo. Some raisers fear they won't receive anything anymore. Backyard racers in Pampanga have been airing this concern to the Department of Agriculture Regional Office since 2019, but to no avail. They are also decrying DA's memo that only those with a maximum of 20 culled pigs will be compensated. The problem with this order, according to them, is that it was issued 2 months after the culling.
Alam kong ang gobyerno ang mga tao ay hindi dadayain. Kaya ako hindi nagdalawang isip na sumunod bandang huli. Unti-unti na po naming naramdaman na nagtatagal. Parang humihirap. Parang nawawala ng pag-asa. At parang hindi na yata ibibigay.
To cope, some hog raisers converted their pig pens into dog houses as well as duck and fish farms. They say they have been earning but still not much.
Sa totohanan lang po, kanya-kanya po ng diskarte na lang sa pamumuhay eh. Lalo na po ngayon, hindi naman po kayo makakapagtrabaho ng basta-basta kung wala kayong travel pass, wala kayong medical certificates. At napakahirap po talaga ngayon ang mag-apply. Yun po ang totohanan nun. Kaya halimbawa magtinda ng gulay, magtinda na kung ano-ano na lang, basta ho makaraos po ang pamilya.
The group of hog raisers will elevate their concerns to the National Office of the DA. For its part, the DA's regional office has denied claims that the memo to only compensate backyard racers with 20 pigs or less was implemented after the culling. Nevertheless, the agency says all eligible racers will still receive their compensation.
Staggered naman kasi yung pagbibigay ng budget sa amin ng PPM. So kung ano yung dumating sa amin, yun yung ibinabayad namin based doon sa kung sino yung nauna na nakal, basta qualified sila doon sa criteria na set ng opisina.
For now, hog racers in Pampanga can only wait for their share. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. The National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea will be deploying more assets to the territories within the disputed waters to sustain operations. 4 Coast Guard vessels, 1 aircraft, 6 BFAR vessels, and a high-speed tactical watercraft were sent out to conduct sovereignty patrols in various areas within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Basketball wunderkind Kai Sotto is taking his talents down under after signing a multi-year deal with the Adelaide 36ers of the Australian National Basketball League. Sotto has signed with the team for 2 years, starting with the 2021 to 2022 season, with an option for a third. Sotto was with the NBA G League team Ignite, but they parted ways last February. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been convicted for murdering George Floyd. Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 charges of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Shawn Yao. We are One News.